And joining us here on France 24, she was a member of parliament at the ripe old age of 34, just after the fall of the Soviet Union. Zsuzsanna Szelényi, program director at the Budapest-based CEU Democracy Institute think tank, the author of Tainted Democracy, Viktor Orban and the Subversion of Hungary. Thank you for being with us here on France 24.
Inviting me. Thank you.
Were you surprised at, first of all, this landslide result with a supermajority ousting a seemingly immovable Viktor Orban, who'd been there for 16 years?
I think everyone was really surprised, but there was, TISA party was so long ago leading the polls that there was a probability of this outcome. But this was not exactly what we were prepared for because Hungary is not free and fair elections. So no one really knew that a lead in the poll how it could actually unfold at the end of the election day.
And as we saw in that report, there was the euphoria of Sunday night, the hangovers of Monday morning. Has reality kind of set in when you see, for instance, that the president of the European Commission, she puts out a tweet saying, yeah, we've spoken, but it's too early to release the 17 billion euros that Hungary wants until we see the reforms.
So first of all, I think there were days-long festive events in Budapest because of 16 years was a long time. It was a repressive regime. And especially young people, my 3 children are in their 20s, was a fascinating feeling for them to see something unimaginable in their life. So I think it's a very, very important result for Hungarians. Now, for a European Commission response to that, obviously these funds were not withdrawn without reason. And at the current moment, the laws produced by Viktor Orban's government are still maintained, many supporting corruption, a lot of them are against European law. So I think the new government, when it comes together, hopefully in a month's time, should provide certain changes in Hungarian legal system in order that Hungary can get these fundings. And I'm pretty sure that the government will have it as a priority, the new government.
How do they handle Fidesz, and how do they handle those that have been ousted from power? Will there be, you've been talking about corruption there, will there be prosecutions? Should there be people brought to justice? Or is it better to turn the page?
Well, it cannot be done, turning the page, because at the very moment, Viktor Orban party captured the entire Hungarian state. So Orban's loyal party activists are leading the Supreme Court, the Constitution Court, the public prosecutor, so who never initiated any anti-corruption case. So with this set of people, Hungary cannot be governed by another government. So this is why the supermajority, the big majority, constitutional majority for the new a political party, TISA, will be important. Basically, they can change so-called cardinal laws. Just to give you an example, the public prosecutor is nominated for 9 years. So, with the present public prosecutor, you can do nothing. So probably significant institutional changes and personal changes will be necessary in order to make those bills that will comply with European Union law, and of course, kind of reorganizing some kind of democratic structures in Hungary.
Explain to us this sort of long arc of what happened in Hungary. This was a country how, even before the Berlin Wall fell, was one of these sort of soft points where you started to see the Iron Curtain crumble. Then, again, you're a young parliamentarian in the first post-Soviet parliament in Hungary. At that point, how do you get from there to a period where the government becomes pro-Moscow? And not overnight. This happened more than a decade ago.
Well, Viktor Orban is on power for many, many years. He's one of the most experienced politicians in Europe. and he had a 5-time as prime minister. So I think
And you were a parliamentarian with his Fidesz party.
Yes, but that was in the early 90s. And
did he change?
Or
did
everyone
his party
changes
change?
over 30 years spending in politics. So obviously Orban has changed a lot. Well, it's a long story, and basically, to say it shortly, Orban pulled Fidesz party from a liberal center to the right already in the 1990s because he saw more opportunity to make Fidesz party big and a leading governing party. So that was a very opportunistic move from his side, and he changed. A lot of people left back then. I also left. So those who remain more closer to Orban. So he lost a lot of critics over the time, and therefore he could more force his ideas and radicalism to his party.
Did Hungary change with him, is my question.
Well, first of all, Fidesz party changed with him. And when he got to power in 2010, after the economic crisis, which provided a lot of room in politics all over the world to maneuver, it gave him an opportunity to start to change Hungary in a way that he could stay on power long. He actually prepared for 20 years long, and he could fulfill 16 years. Now he completely changed the constitutional setup through a lot of corruption, systemic corruption. There is a completely new economic elite around Orban's Fidesz party, where Orban's own family is one of the major owner of significant wealth after 16 years. There are huge institutions all over the world financed from Hungarian taxpayer money, which provided an ideology for illiberalism. And I think these are there. So it will be not, Orban's leaving will not only make changes in Hungary, but also in a larger scale.
Unless, of course, that money that you say comes from Hungarian taxpayers also is on the quiet funneled via Moscow, in which case those illiberal think tanks that are lobbying for those values are going to stay. Are they going to stay?
So I think the think tank money comes from Hungary. It's from our tax, which these international
like when they host those big CPAC conferences in Budapest.
CPAC conferences, the Matthias Corvinus Collegium, building lavish buildings and institutes in Brussels, in Washington D.C., in Warsaw. These are made from Hungarian money because Orban managed the Hungarian budget like his own money. But the Russian influence was really substantial, not specifically by financing or not financing this institution, but most probably there were certain Hungarian business people close to politics who enjoyed and made a specific profit on specific deals between Vladimir Putin and Viktor Orban. And also we could see through the election campaign the involvement of Russian both on the internet, in the social media landscape, also with false flag operations, creating chaotic situation and serving campaign narrative of the governing party. So Russian influence is there in Hungary, and this is going to be a challenge for the new government.
When the leader of France's far right finances her presidential run in 2022, it's through a Hungarian bank. Is it just through a Hungarian bank?
Well, we don't know that, of course, and that money could come from anywhere, but definitely the Hungarian bank was a transfer institution. Where the money came from, I don't know. I mean, we don't have concrete proof. It came directly from a Hungarian bank, which is close to Orban's networks.
So as we look ahead to 2027, and we had on Sunday night in our special edition from Budapest, a Fidesz member of the European Parliament says, we have high hopes still for France in 2027. This sort of internationale of like-minded far-right parties is still there. They're going to have a meeting in Italy, I know, soon. What would you say to the French from your Hungarian experience?
So the international far-right alliance is there. It exists, and it was mobilized and energetically by Viktor Orban. And he could do this because, as I said, he used a lot of Hungarian resources to finance this network through conferences and institutions. And also his personal ambition to be an influential leader in broader environment than just in Hungary, influence European politics. He was essential to this alliance building. So Orban not being a Hungarian prime minister will definitely change this dynamic, though I don't think he will disappear from the scene. Orban is not a kind of politician. This is the only thing he likes in his life. So he will remain, but without having the resources of the Hungarian state, he will have a completely different position in the international illiberal network.
So there's the us versus them, the anti-woke narrative, which talking a lot about foreign policy during the campaign. Péter Magyar, his opponent, sort of sidestepped that and instead talked about kitchen table issues, about inflation and the such. Is that the antidote to if you're taking on?
Well, one of the learning is that you cannot only play an international field. You have to deal with your own people if you want to be a successful campaigner and politician. Orban, I think for long ago, he took it like obvious that he is the only possible leader of Hungary, and he started to play at international level, played a much more significant role than a country of Hungarian size can do so. And I think this kind of hubris and vanity basically pulled him too far, and Hungarian governing Hungary was really neglected, not only in the last couple of years, but for many, many years. This was a very ideological governing side. Basically, Orban always played politics. He was not a specific governor. And I think over the time, this was enough by Hungarians. They wanted to have their leader as someone who's taking care of all the issues which are important for Hungarian healthcare system, education system. The transport system is on verge. There are highly significant problems. And I think since COVID, we started to see this coming. Also, the Hungarian economy was really badly managed. A lot of money was stolen by oligarchs, new oligarchs related to the leading party. And this money is now missing. When the world economy is not so stable, then Hungary, which is a small and very globally integrated economy, could not separate itself for what's happening in the world. So we should be able to be more ready and prepared, and we need reserves which are not there in Hungary.
One quick final question. You had this anti-Orban coalition that sweeps him from power. You mentioned at the outset your 3 children who are in their 20s. What do they think of his replacement, Péter Magyar, who's a conservative, a pro-EU one, but a conservative? What hopes do they hold for him?
I think everyone in Hungary who voted for TISA party and for Péter Magyar is hoping for a significant change, a normalcy, carrying the people itself and the young people specifically who actually were game changers in this election in large scale. They want freedom. So Hungary was really a repressed country. Hundreds of thousands Hungarian youth left Hungary because of political reasons in the last decade, and hopefully many of them thinking coming back. And this is just an extraordinary kind of revolutionary moment in their life.
Zsuzsanna Szelényi, many thanks for being with us here on France 24.
Thank you very much for inviting me.